Hello, everyone. I'm Kelly Covert, and this is a very special edition of At Home with Symphoria. Today, we have our executive director, Pam Murchison, with us, and she has offered to do a live Q&A with us. So it's going to be a little bit of a different format, but we thought it would be a great opportunity to open up the floor to your questions, to your comments, to anything you'd like to know about Symphoria and what we're going through now, what we're planning on, and all of those fun things. So welcome, Pam.
Thanks so much for having me. I'm always glad to talk to you, Kelly, and to talk about the orchestra.
Well, likewise. So why don't you tell everyone just a little bit about your background and sort of how you came to be executive director of Symphoria?
Well, clean living, as Mary Ann Tisco would say. All of my training is as a musician. All of my degrees are on flute performance, which might be why I'm so comfortable talking. We're a chatty instrument. But about 8 years ago, I was playing in a lot of different orchestras, always very interested in serving on musicians committees, learning more about the administrative side of things, all of the conversations and relationships that need to be negotiated to make this really amazing thing happen. And I have been very fortunate. A friend of mine was working with a group called the Pittsburgh New Music Ensemble. They had an executive director position open, and someone said, "Well, why don't you submit an application?" And so I did, and had a really amazing year with them, and just kind of went from there. Right before I moved to Syracuse about a year ago, I was vice president of development, and also I played for 12 seasons as piccolo and flute three in the West Virginia Symphony Orchestra in Charleston, West Virginia. So it's just really great to be in Syracuse. My husband and I love the weather. We love the orchestra. We love the community, and it's been a very good year. All sorts of challenges none of us thought we would face, but glad to be here.
Oh, well, isn't that the truth about, when you moved up here, you had no idea we had a pandemic on the way.
Let's not. We do the saying in West Virginia, God willing and the creek don't rise. So we say that a lot.
There you go. There you go. So we have lots of people watching today. And for those of you who are with us live, feel free to put your questions in the chat and we will get to as many of them as we can. And we have some questions that have been emailed in. So we're going to start with some of those. One of the questions that we've been getting from a lot of people, a lot of our audience members and people in the community is, what can we expect from Symphoria this coming season, given everything that's happening?
Sure. Our opening night performance is scheduled with John Nakamatsu on September 26th, and we will present music that evening. What that looked like in terms of the size of the orchestra, the size of the audience, and honestly, even the venue. We don't know exactly yet. We're still waiting on local, guidelines from the state and from the county. We want to keep the musicians safe, the patrons safe, but we are going to be able to present a concert to you that evening. If anyone who tuned into Solstice on Thursday night, it was a great experiment for us. The musicians and everyone was just so happy to provide an event. And what you'll see is something that looks more like a traditional concert that you can watch from home, or if, depending on what the capacity limits are for group gatherings, with, some sort of hybrid option with some audience in the hall, but people having the option to live stream from home as well.
Mm-hmm. And we were just talking earlier today about the season and why don't you let everyone know what our theme is for this year?
Well, all roads lead to the brilliant John Garland, and our new theme is expect the unexpected. So what you can't expect is for Symphoria to be here. What the unexpected part of it would just be, continual evolution and adaptation to the situation we're in at any given time. So, programs might alter, the capacity in the venue might alter depending on to what's going on in terms of community health. And we need to be responsible and protect everybody as best we can. But we're going to be here playing shows on all those nights.
And that's good news. I think in a world where it feels like almost everything is being canceled, we're really excited to be able to say no matter what, there will be some kind of concert experience for you on these dates. So we're excited to say that.
Me too. It'll be a season like no other. And I really, I hope that you feel like we do, that you won't want to miss a minute of it.
100%. Last week, we issued a statement from our leadership regarding diversity and inclusion in our orchestra. And we did have a few questions on what are some ways our Symphoria audiences can expect to see greater diversity in our concerts.
Sure, and people have responded to me as well, asking, and it's a conversation that the organization continues to have. When we look at board membership, when we look at guest artists, we're bringing in Ty Murray next season. When we look at the composers that we're selecting for our programs, when we're looking at themes, we have a Gospel Meet Symphony concert that we're very much leaning into Dr. Joan Hilsman to make sure that it's a really great representative event of that glorious tradition of music. We're listening, we're being sensitive. The board is scheduled to go through some training provided through the New York State Council for the Arts. Staff and musicians have done that, and a lot of things are the scheduling has been affected by social distancing and the pandemic, but we just continue to recognize that as an organization we really want to reflect the community around us. Something that we talk about a lot is that we acknowledge that the community inside the concert hall doesn't yet represent the beautiful diversity that's outside the concert hall. And we have seats, we have room, and we think that we're here for everybody. And so we actually have a community engagement manager starting later this summer. And her job is to identify the relationships we don't yet have, build them in a meaningful way, and to ask questions and see what we can always do better. Musicians always want to do better. That was great. Oh, I wish I had just done this thing a little bit differently. And so this continues to be part of the DNA of this organization.
And if people have more questions or further conversation, they can always reach out to you.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
Pam always has an open door in the office, and she always picks up the phone, and she always responds to emails. So know that you can reach out to her at any time. It's something that I know our staff love about you. How about summer concerts? We're coming into summer seasons. My kids' first day of summer break, I got them celebratory donuts this morning. And we have had some questions, particularly a couple from one of our super fans, Nick Beener, who I'm going to give a shout out here. Nick, we so appreciate you at every single concert, always wondering what's next. But he was wondering about our 4th of July concert and our summer park concerts in Skinny Atlas and Fayetteville, what we have planned for those.
Sure. We have a couple of meetings that we need to have in the next couple of days before we announce what our summer plans are. They're going to look different than we initially planned, but we definitely want to be able to talk about what we are going to do. There's been a lot of really sad news in our industry this week, concerts being suspended across the nation. And so we're just right on the cusp of being able to make an announcement about that. And really your continued patience, as I keep saying that, over the next 12 months is much appreciated, but we'll let you know really soon.
100%
later this week.
Yeah. And the best way to know about that is to make sure that you're getting our weekly emails. And I'll come in later and I'll put a link to that just in case you might not be signed up. And also just to stay tuned to Facebook, because we're posting all updates on there as well. So know that you will always be in the loop with one of those two places.
Sure.
So we have a very important question from Mitchell, who is the son of concertmaster Peter Rovid and the acting principal violist Arvilla Wenlin. And he wanted to know, what is the most exotic pet you've ever owned? Or if you could have one, what would it be?
If I could have any animal I wanted, I don't think it's exotic. I think I would have an otter, because otters, right? But I definitely, in high school, we had like sort of a no pet household. And I did come back from a school band trip to Myrtle Beach with a hermit crab named Wolfgang, for Mozart, of course. And I, being a generally responsible person, Wolfgang often got out and scared my mother in the bathroom in the middle of the night. So she had him on the kitchen sink with she had this like heavy bacon press. It was like shaped like a pig, and she would just put it on top of the cage so Wolfgang was not able to escape. So it was definitely a team effort.
Okay, and there you have it.
Yeah.
I love this question, and for those of you who aren't, I know we have about 20 people here live. Please be willing to put your questions up here. Barbara Nostrand says, please do not stereotype visible minorities, and I think that's a great comment, Barbara,
Yeah.
and something that we absolutely strive for.
Sure. I've got some nervousness about doing this. We want to be always sensitive and always listening and make sure that we're doing things in the right way. It would never be our intent to do that. And if you start to see some of that, please let me know. I don't want you to have to do my work for me, but if I'm doing something that feels wrong, it's because I'm making a mistake, not because I know. And people call all the time and they're like, well, this thing or that thing or whatever. And if we know there's a problem, we can fix it. So thank you, Barbara. We know you're super engaged and will definitely keep us on the right track. And we appreciate the feedback.
We appreciate you, Barbara. I love this question. What carries over from being a musician into being an arts administrator?
Sure. We were just talking to the Symphoria Youth Orchestra kids yesterday, and I feel like everything that I do every day, I can draw back to the skills I learned as a musician. Listening, creative problem solving. Playing the music is very creative and sort of putting your own spin on it. But honestly, when you're in the practice room and you're like, why can't I play this? It's kind of the tenacity, the resilience, but then also trying different things, being curious. Well, why isn't this working? Well, what about it's not working? Assessing the situation. And I certainly try and just bring as much joy as I can to the work that we're doing in the community that is my part of this puzzle. And so all of those things, for sure.
Well, and speaking of bringing joy, I will attest that at Symphoria, we laugh a lot.
And their mascara runs. That's the other part of that, yeah.
Well, and sometimes we cry too, but I think all of us will attest that joy is something that we lead with, and that's really important to us. I think as a whole, like as a community, that you leave any experience that you have at Symphoria filled with joy, and we hope that that's true.
Well, certainly you feel different. You feel affected. You feel like you've been a part of something special and unique, and the beautiful thing about what we do is it's there and then it's not. But I'm not one for living too much in the past, but I will never forget how I felt at that Friday night Rachmaninoff Festival concert. Just I think we're going to remember this pandemic. We're going to remember the events of the past couple of weeks, and the many things that have led up to that with the Black Lives Matters and the protests and all of the awakening that the nation, the world is having. And we as musicians get to provide a space where we can process all of those things, and also this magic of music and what that does for us. So we're pretty lucky, I think.
I think so too. We have a great question here from Donald McLaughlin. He asks, assuming that your funding support from the county has been reduced, what impact will that have on the coming season?
Sure. We are improving all trying to increase the funding streams that we have. We have tremendous support from the Syracuse Symphony Foundation. And we are anticipating, everyone's having challenges, and there is great need in the county and state. So we are budgeting anticipated reduction in funding. And then we are trying to just continue to build trust and relationships with our individual donors and with the family foundations in the community, so that we can, make sure that we have the funding in place that we need to present next season, and the individuals in the community are a part of that. As people were donating the value of their tickets back for the missed concerts, the concerts that we had to cancel in March, April, and May, people giving their stimulus gifts to the orchestra because you believe in the power of music and want to make an investment today to make sure it's here tomorrow. We're never not fundraising. The Symphoria raffle was, there was a huge push in May from the community to that. That is all money that we are able to recognize and see and plan for next season. So we feel confident that we will be here moving forward.
Mm-hmm.
Donald, I hope that answers your question.
Well, and do you want to talk a little bit about how we have reworked our season to help support those changes that we had to make due to our budget?
Sure. The first thing is to make sure that the community has access to music. So that means if you've already renewed your subscription for next season, or if you are thinking about it, as a subscriber, you receive your tickets to come to the concerts, and you also receive a link to watch the concert live streamed. So if we're in a position where there's a second wave and we can't get together, with 1,000 people, there's an option for people to enjoy the impact of their work, to enjoy the music. Any single ticket buyer will also have access to a live stream version, so that even if we are full steam ahead and someone is not feeling well, they feel like they might be putting their the patron next to them at risk, or they feel like they're in a vulnerable cohort for any number of reasons, that they can watch from home in safety. And we're trying to we want to eliminate any difficult decisions from our patrons based on health and safety. So that's one thing that we're doing. We're able to kind of plan for next season. We announced the season in February. Paul Dodd had this incredible, Paul and Dania had this incredible event at their home, where Larry and kind of walked us through what next season was going to look like. And it had amazing things on it. We had a 7-concert Music of the Americas festival that had music from Mexico, South America, Black composers, women composers, this beautiful array. And, it is being a very big financial investment to do works by living composers, as it should be. We postponed that to 21-22, to the fall. And we started by looking at the music that we have in our library. And what that means is music that is either in the public domain, music that doesn't come with a rental or a purchase price to it. The Symphoria Library has a large number of scores. A lot of those scores are from, Western Europe in the 19th century. So what we've done is we've taken the original season. We've said this doesn't seem financially prudent for 21-22. Let's put some things in
21
million. Let's delay it a year. And some of the pieces that we were really, really sad to cancel this year, like the Von Williamstone and Nobis Pacem with the Oratorio Society, things like that, we also are delaying into 21-22. But while we have masterworks and pops and casual programming that is in place based on what we have available in our library, we're continuing to evolve that programming so that we can understand how to get back to where we were in February, which is presenting more diversity in our programming.
Like,
I believe most of the guest artists are in place that we initially scheduled and announced.
yeah. And like you said, expect the unexpected, right?
Absolutely. But it'll be great. Expect it to be great.
It is going to be great. And if you're curious about what that season looks like, it is live on our website as of today. So you can go to experiencesymphoria.org and check out all of the concerts and all of our guest artists that are coming, including, like Pam mentioned, Ty Murray, who will be here to play Tchaikovsky, and Natasha Peremsky will be back to also play Tchaikovsky piano concerto, Tchaikovsky violin concerto. So we're really, really excited about the season. I have one more question for you, and it's one of mine. I thought I would end with mine. And so now, if anyone else has any questions, now's your chance. And for those of you who are watching after the fact, feel free to continue to post your questions in here, and Pam will be in, and she will answer them, or reach out to her, or you can send her an email or a Facebook message, and we'll make sure that gets to her. So my question to you is, you've been here a year, just over a year, and we're so glad that you're here. I love having you as a boss and as a friend. And I'm curious to know, in the past year, what are you most proud of?
There are a lot of things. I think it all boils down to something that the community might not see immediately, which is this culture of transparency and trust within the organization. We get bad news and everyone gets it at the same time. We get good news, everybody gets it at the same time. Because we've got musicians serving on our board, on our finance committee, a lot of the questions or doubts that what's going on with the finances, we've got people playing in the orchestra who are right there with the CPA on the board, looking at the P&L and looking at the cash flow, and we're able to make decisions together, which means that we're still here. And I feel really lucky every time I go into the office or talk to staff. I mean, I'm just surrounded by really sensitive and thoughtful and brilliant and talented people. And I think it's really cool that we get to do this work together. So all of the things.
All of the things. Well, we're proud of you too. And we're so lucky to have you as a leader at the helm of this ship on these crazy oceans. But Pam,
I've got great partners with Marianne Tisco as our board chair, Larry and as our music director. And really it's a very kind of flat, Red Rover, everyone moving in the same direction kind of place. So
yeah, for sure. Yeah. For sure.
I do want to say one quick thing. Barbara's saying about the security certificate. We are working on updating that. We actually have a tech audit later this week. All of the ticket buying links are behind a secure server. And if you ever have any doubt about that, you can feel free to call Emily between 9:30 and 3:30, Monday through Friday at the box office. She is awesome. But thank you, Barbara, for letting us know. We're working on it to make sure that that everyone feels really good about engaging on the website.
Well, Pam, we don't have any rapid fire for you today. I think that we've grilled you enough, but that's always fun. Thank you so much for taking time out of your busy day to be with us. And like I said, for those of you who are watching after the fact, feel free to put your questions in, and Pam will pop in and answer those for you there, or be in touch with you. Oh, we do have one more, and I think it's a really good one.
Yes.
From Marianne Tisco, our board chair. What volunteering opportunities are available with Symphoria?
Sure. We always need help and support contacting patrons and helping them understand kind of where we are. So if you like calling strangers on the phone, let us know. Once we kind of get some of our administrative office isn't quite open yet. We're working from home still, but once we get that up, I know library support, box office support, filing support, any sort of administrative duties. We do, if you're interested in board membership, you could talk to Marianne Tisco about that. It's another important volunteering. We will likely need some ushers and things. I'm not sure, venue selection is one of the things we're kind of thinking about. So we could always use help as far as that goes. If you have a particular expertise in human resources or grant writing, that is great. And really, if you're part of a community organization that wants to be more connected with Symphoria, to reach out and help us understand how to do that.
100%. And Barbara asked, patrons get to be on the board?
Well, our board is full of patrons.
Yep. Actually, I think the whole board is patrons minus musicians who are there.
We've got the whole ecosystem, right? The performance of the performers who need the audience, who need the performers, who need the audience, and so all of that is on the board.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah. And I think too, one of the easiest ways to call yourself a volunteer is really just to share, share Facebook posts, share with your friends and your neighbors and your family how great it is to come to a Symphoria concert. And our arms are open wide for everyone who wants to walk in that door. So the more you share, the more opportunities people have to learn about us.
Sure. And also, we've had some really amazing interns that have helped us out a lot. So if you're an organization that has it might seem on surface like we're at sort of a niche market, but like I said, everything I've learned about playing with an orchestra comes in to help any day on any given task in the office. So yeah, just help us understand, what we can be doing to increase our impact in the community.
Well, Pam and everyone who is with us this afternoon, thank you for joining us and thank you for being here. At Home with Symphoria, we'll be back on Thursday with our Symphoria Youth Orchestra manager, Lana Stafford. So that will be fun. And it's a whole flute week here at Home with Symphoria. And we hope that you are all well and full of joy this afternoon. And we will talk to you soon.
Take care. See you soon at a concert.